Okay, here we go. Something. Okay, here we go.
Welcome, everybody. It is time again for another episode of the Something Cast.
Something Cast.
I'm James Hatton.
I'm Podcast Rob.
And we're back with a single mic shoot this time. It's just me recording.
Like another one of our creative corner kind of things that we have going on. Our spotlight on a creator. This time, creator reached out to us. They have some really cool stuff that's already happening and a new season of their TV show coming out. So we are honored to be joined by Mr. Kevin Goatee of Comics Watching Comics on Amazon.
Hey now, what's going on?
Not much. How are you guys?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. It's been lovely.
When Rob, who is our guest wrangler, told me about it, I went and as a fan of stand-up comedy and also as a fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000, it hit a weird soft spot, like right in the middle, where it's not just the comedy, but also the commentary on comedy, both technically and, how do you want to call it, ribbing, destroying at times.
You can call it that. We ball busting.
Yeah.
You know? We're not formal here.
But it's a cool little show for anybody. It's on Amazon Prime. The episodes are anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes. And so why don't you lay out the premise? Where did you get these folks, and what were they winning?
Where did I get them? In the beginning, I got a lot of my friends and other random people, other comics, I should say, to do the show. Then the show started garnering steam, and a lot of people started submitting for it. And then people started flying in for seasons 5 and 6. We had people flying in from Vegas, from Detroit, from Dallas, from Atlanta, from Tennessee. Where else? Rhode Island. A lot of different spots people were coming in for the show because they started to catch the... He caught it on YouTube where it originally aired. And people, like I said, people started to get interested in it.
So was it, are you saying then, so season 5 and 6, is there more seasoned folks coming up?
No, everyone's new. It's just a deeper crop as opposed to just mostly like the first 2 seasons were just like 100% comics from Jersey and the city.
Right.
3 and 4, maybe a few other people from out of the maybe right outside the tri-state area, maybe Philly. I had a few people from, but 5 and 6, man, the word started getting out and getting more popular on YouTube and shit that people started flying in for. So that is how it came to be.
So you feel that these people are coming on not only to get critiques and the chance of winning, but as the show gets more popular, it's still just extra exposure for them, whether you guys praise them or shit on them or ball bust them or however you want to call it. It's still more eyes on the stuff that they're doing than they might be getting in the clubs that they're at.
100% accurate. Exactly the point. They're getting more exposure in areas that aren't really developed yet. And like I said, this show is a perfect way to do so.
So I do have to say, the one thing that completely caught me off guard in watching the show, your spontaneous hit from behind laugh out of nowhere is like one of the 3 best things that happens on that show.
Well, okay. I'm just trying to figure out, like, when you say that, I'm trying to figure out, like, the instance that
like
I could try and...
You ask somebody for commentary and you're expecting some sort of critical feedback and they just throw this zinger at them and it just completely hits you out of nowhere and you just start guffawing. Just the purity of that laughter out of nowhere is hysterical.
Oh,
And that's really what comedy is about. It's trying to get people to that point.
right. Right. Oh, I thank you for the compliment. And that, of course, all that is unscripted. So that's a good compliment here. Thank you.
Well, I mean, there was one or two performers where your set of the panelists had a better set than the performer.
Yeah, that happens quite often.
Yeah. I'm looking through my notes to figure out which one I specifically wrote in my notes that your commentary was making me laugh so much harder than theirs. Maybe I shouldn't even say because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Go ahead. It's old hat now, so you can.
Oh, fair. When I find it, I'll mention it. But yeah, there was the zinger lines that came from you guys at times, especially because these comedians, some of them super green. You could see punchlines coming a mile away. So the fact that you were able to see the punchline, know what their punchline was going to be, and have an altogether better one as the turnaround, it really gave me that Mystery Science Theater giggle.
Thank you. Yeah, that's sometimes, again, we've been in it for, a lot of us have been in it for a while, so it's kind of like, yeah, we could see it coming, like you said, a mile away. And if we can see it coming a mile away, then, you need to work a little bit harder on those jokes. And that goes for anybody in comedy, really. It's just, if the audience is predicting or other people are predicting the fucking punchlines, then yeah, man, it's time to
so
go back to the drawing board.
Did you pre-screen? Like, did you see, I assume you saw videos of these folks before?
Yeah, that's how people get on the show. They send me a video, and I actually have a bunch sitting in my inbox right now, where I watch them and then I say yay or nay, and I pick them, and that's that. So that's how they get on the show.
But so the reason I ask is, so you saw somebody like from season 4, DJ Doak, who is a favorite of mine for all the wrong reasons. And did you look at that and go, I want to see what my friends say about this, or he's got a shot?
There are people. So I here's how I do it. I have I can watch a video and go, okay, this person's great, they're okay, or they're awful.
Sure.
It's like a bell curve. You got to have a bit of both, but more mediocre, I would say, or medium and whatnot. So, but yeah, some people I do watch and go, yeah, they need to be on here because they're going to be fantastic, or they're going to be William Hung awful, and we need to have them on. And just for our amusement, we're going to have them on.
There were definitely a bunch that you could see had some chops, that maybe a better room, maybe a better night, maybe a different audience. They probably would have gotten a much bigger reaction, but it looks like the audience was getting tired. I mean, was that all recorded in 1-2 nights?
It was all in one day.
Whew.
Seasons 1, 3, and so it's every 2. Like 1 and 2 were one taping. 3 and 4 were another taping. 5 and 6, and then 7 and 8.
Gotcha.
Wow. Okay.
That's draining for an audience to hold on to them so long. I mean, I guess with 5-minute sets, it's not too bad.
Yeah, well, I got to get the bang for my buck on a video.
Oh, sure. Of course.
So the one thing I noticed when we got to season 2, it felt like a lot of the panelists were a lot more familiar with the comics that you guys were watching, either having seen them at other gigs or sat in on other open mic nights than from season 1. Season 1, a lot of it felt like this was the first time a lot of those panelists had seen these guys' acts.
I'm going to tell you why you're interesting standpoint, but I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. We actually season 2 was actually shot first with the panel. So season 1 is actually we taped that panel is taped secondly.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of these comics were like, we know a lot of them. That's the thing.
Right.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, and I think with the last 4 and 5 especially, right? 5 and 6. Like, since we're having more people coming in from the outside, that we're not familiar with them, which is, I think, better. Because that way we don't run into in the city if they're awful. But if they're good, they're going to get a lot more bookings in the city. Because I couldn't even tell you how many people are like, yeah, man, it's been huge with the show because of that.
Very cool. I had 2 notes from season 1 and 2. The first one I had was I had to give you props for the Yaphet Kotto reference.
That joke did not get enough fair. It didn't get its due. I must say that one.
I think there maybe the room was lacking in James Bond fans. But the minute you said that, I lost my mind because you were absolutely right. And then I had Phil from Chico in season 2. Looks like Tim's not his athletic brother Jim Tebow.
Good one. That's fucking funny. Yeah, we do a lot of that. I tell you what, a lot of people say, you know what, it's funny watching the panel with the ball busting and all that stuff. The real show is what you haven't seen, and that is a lot of the stuff I can't show because it is too mean.
Right.
That's the fun. Like, I think one of these days I'm gonna have a DVD where the meanest shit said, but not show who it's said about.
Sure.
But yeah, that's funny, Jim Tebow. I think about that now. Oh my god, that's funny.
Well, I was impressed with the unapologetic nature of the language, the political incorrectness, the etc. Like, you guys, the riffs you threw at times, no way you were you wouldn't get away with that on Netflix. So that's pretty impressive that Amazon Prime kind of let you fly by the radar with some of the raciness.
I don't think Netflix would say shit.
Really? Okay, fair enough.
I really don't. I think they're pretty much go as you want, and that's what. If you guys saw Chappelle's last special, he talks about that. Truth.
That's a fair point. I forgot about that. Yeah, the most recent special is a bit. It hits hard.
And that's the way it should be. It's just all this whole political correctness horse shit that's coming about is for the fucking birds, and it's the people still have to go back and go. Comedy's about saying those things that you can't say in the office,
I'm with you.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I was impressed by it. It was the fact that you guys could make comments about a black comedian while you're specifically talking about black comedians. It has context. You are professionals in the field. Out of context, I could see it starting a Twitter war somewhere, but it was refreshing to see it, specifically because I agree that comedy should be able to reach out in the boundaries, especially when you're talking about that sort of comedy.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look, it's and listen, you get a point, but you got to we should on everybody equally. You know what? One moment, like DJ Dope got it pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
The next minute, a black comic will get it bad. The next minute, a female Latina comic will get it bad. Or good. It just depends. So it all depends. I mean, that's how it is. We equal opportunity. That's what we do.
So on your show, you have this little bit called 2 Drink Minimum, where you kind of get into it a little bit deeper with some of the panelists and get some of the background and kind of what's inside their head.
Right.
So I have a couple questions here that I wanted to ask you, so our listeners and the audience out there can get a little bit more insight into what makes Mr. Kevin Goatee do what he does.
Right. Fire away. Let's do this.
So what is your biggest pet peeve with comics?
I need like 10 answers to that one. I would say this one drives me fucking nuts. If I ask a comic, "Hey, what's going on?" a lot of them vomit their upcoming schedule at me or their credits, like where they've been. Like, no one gives a shit. Stop trying to be like that. Well, look at me, look what I've been up to. Like, nah, I don't think so. That annoys the fuck out of me.
So it's just name dropping. They just start IMDbing at you.
But I'm like, what's going on? Hey, Mike, what's going on? Well, I did 2 spots at Broadway last night. I opened for this guy. I got this spot on the road. Like, I didn't care to hear your calendar. I just want to know what's going on, man. Like, what it is. I mean, obviously, this is no secret. Most comics are insanely insecure, and this is them trying to get validation while they're not on stage from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, because if they say it to themselves, all the places that they've been to or what they've had, it makes them sound a little bit more self-important.
Right. And it's, also they go to the comics. Well, I've shared the stage with, and they'll name drop 4 guys. I'm like, that's cool. Just because I walked on the field at Yankee Stadium doesn't mean I'm the starting center fielder. Like, no. And if I ask David Tell about that night, he's like, gonna remember who the fuck you are. Like that, it's shit like that. There's so much disillusion in this fucking game. It's annoying. It really is. It's like one of my favorite sayings is Walter Payton. They asked him, "Why don't you talk shit when you get in the end zone?" This can be so applied for comics. Am I saying? And what he did was he goes, "Why don't you talk shit when you score a touchdown?" And his answer was, "Act like you've been there before." And most of these fucking comics do not act like they've been there before.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, it's fucking nauseating, is what it is.
So you've asked a lot of guys like what their biggest bomb was, the set that didn't go over the worst. I wanna flip the script a little bit. Was there a show that you had like some internal reservations about how well it was going to go over that you ended up just absolutely killing?
Oh God, I would have to go back and look. Like I did, maybe I guess not too long ago, I did a show at the Pit, which is the People's Improv Theater in the city, and it's mostly like an improv, kind of very like punny and very PC, mostly kind of arena. Mm-hmm. So I did it, but I was like, man, I'm probably gonna eat some dick here. I mean, I didn't do my most evil, meanest jokes, or I changed a few things, so that way I was like, all right, I'm not gonna go out there and intentionally fucking go out there to do that. But I changed a few things, but not, not. I didn't completely alter, but a few things I just tweaked. I ended up doing like pretty decently. I'd say pretty well. So that's, I guess, one instance where it's just like, all right, I've done a few Sweet 16 birthdays where I'm like, this could go really well or really badly, and they all went very well. I must say that was really fun. Was the Sweet 16s?
How far do you bring down the raciness for the Sweet 16s, or do you ramp it up?
What? Say that again.
I said, how far do you like bring down the how much of the corners do you take off for the Sweet 16 parties, or do you have
yeah. I mean, you got to be PG-13. What you do is you get the kids, and then what I do is I start flirting with the moms there. That's easy. You get the moms on your side, and then they're laughing like, "Oh, he's so funny, he's so cute." But yeah, and then you play with the girls and have fun with them. But yeah, you can't really, talk about some of the things that you want to talk about, obviously.
So, you've got your own Netflix special. We're talking Theater of the Mind here. You've got your own Netflix special. You're headlining. You've hit it huge in the industry. Who would you want to open for you?
Wow. My favorite comic of all time is Dave Attell, but I'll never, no matter how big I make it, I'll never ever be as funny as he will be. So I would say him, but I don't want to insult him by having him open for me, only because I'm bigger. You see what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
He's my favorite. All him and Rodney, like 1A and 1B, and I think it'd be like just because Kevin Goatee made it from his show on Amazon or his other shows he's got he's working on now. I think I would love to say Dave, which is fucking my all-time favorite, but I don't want to have him open for me just again because I've got a fucking show on, I guess, on Amazon.
I've learned that everybody loves Attell, and I understand it. It's just I didn't realize. I mean, when I was watching Comedy Central years and years ago for what was it? Insomniac. Thank you. And I thought he was funny, but it was only after I started the podcast movement with all of the comedians having podcasts that I learned that like everybody loves Dave Attell. It's like everybody in New York loving Colin Quinn. Like he's just the comedian's comedian.
All the comics, a lot of the big pros were like, no one, they won't watch anybody's set, but when Attell's on, everyone stops and goes to watch what he has to say. Like that's the compliment of compliments, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, so to answer your question, I would just have one of my buddies like open for me.
Just give them the rub. Makes sense.
Where did you? You probably been asked this a ton before, but where did you get a lot of your comedic inspirations from? Was there specific comics when you were growing up, when you first started in the industry?
I mean, I didn't get to tell until later. Like when I really, I got his Skanks for the Memory CD, the best album of all time, like 2000 and like maybe three or four, I should say. I started comedy in 09, but I would say like Rodney, the Dennis Leary No Cure for Cancer was fucking amazing. That was a game changer. Chris Rock, Bigger and Blacker. Eddie Murphy, Raw, duh. That's a no-brainer as well. I would say, and I watched a lot of the HBO specials, but I couldn't. I think maybe a little bit of Tim Allen. There's one guy named John Fox. If you ever find him, he was a fucking riot, but he's dead now. But yeah, those like the one. And Tosh. I mean, I like Tosh as his show, and I like his stand-up's pretty good too. But I mean, I would say, like I said, definitely Dennis Leary, Rock, Danger, Rodney. Dice in the beginning, and then Sam Kinison. Holy shit, man! Dice's stuff hasn't stood the test of time, but Sam Kinison's does easily. It is so fucking great.
Yeah,
so those are some of the people I would say have definitely influenced me.
I recently listened to some Kinison again, and you're 100% correct. It shockingly holds up. It shouldn't hold up as good as it does, but it is still just.
I don't know why I would say it shockingly does. I mean, it's so fucking great. You know, it's so funny and on point. And I mean, the Dice stuff, like some of the early Dice stuff does. Some of the later stuff doesn't, but I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why anyone would be shocked why it shouldn't hold up. It's that good.
I would say, and I think I was surprised that it was that good, given how far we've come, the different evolutions of comedy since then. That if you look at somebody like Tim Allen, where you see that it was very much like, this is my one character bit. It's different than, say, somebody like Larry the Cable Guy, but it's similar in that it is a couple note character. You sort of paint your brain to think Kinison was similar in that, but he 1000%, as you said, he wasn't. It was so depthful. It held up as good as the Bill Hicks stuff that I will listen to regularly.
Right.
And that's a testament.
Agree.
I think
I've only listened to some of Hicks stuff, so I mean, I really should give him more of the fair shake, especially since a lot of people argue that Leary stole from Hicks. So that's something.
There's similarities. I wouldn't say it's direct stole, but there's definitely. I mean, there's similarities in that they are both, pissy guys who smoke a lot.
Right.
I think a lot of the Kinison stuff still holds up because even though he was talking about issues of the time, the issues he were talking about is still timeless through multiple generations and decades. Whereas a lot of the stuff that Dice was talking about was not only stereotypical of that time, but also more confined to that time frame. So I think that's why his stuff doesn't necessarily age as well, because it feels very 80s. Whereas Kinison's, you could still put it into today, you could put it into 30 years ago, you could put it into 10 years from now, and a lot of his the stuff that he's poking fun at and railing against is still going to be relevant.
Right. Agree. I agree with me and you guys as well. It's funny.
So where are you? What can we expect for seasons 5 and 6? Aside from the deeper trough to pull from, more people coming in from the outside, is there anything that we're trying to do different for seasons 5 and 6? I know season 4 you brought in the expert,
master panelist Jeffrey Goering. That's right.
Do we have more of that coming in?
And he's back. Yeah, he's back for seasons. He's here for the rest. He's here for the rest of the duration, which is good. And differently, season 5, I'm going to tell you, is one of my favorites, and you're going to see why. The panel, and it's so funny. We sat down, and we were, and within 5 minutes, like we all knew each other, but in 5 minutes, I'm trying to remember who the first fucking comic was we watched. I got to think. But in 5 minutes, we were like, oh my God, like the chemistry was insane. Like, we're just busting balls and just fucking ripping them out. It's one of my favorite panels. So the panel is Mark DeMeo, Gino Bisconti, who you might know who opened for Artie Lang, as well as Mark Riccadonna. It's so fucking funny. Like, that's one of my favorites. Season 6, we have a couple of ladies in on this one. It's Gina Brion, who is on Kevin Can Wait, and Carol Montgomery, who's been around forever, and I mean that in a nice way, and Jason Scoop, who won season 1 of Comics Watching Comics. So that's like the new thing I added was I added a winner to sit on the panel, and for 6 and then 5, and it was such a fun time. And season 7 is going to be great. We're going to have the winners, the winning panelists, because that's the twist, is where we have the everyone votes on their favorite panelist to at the end of every season, and I'm having the winning panelists come and sit in for season 7. So I can't wait for that one. That's going to be great too.
Well, I'm going to tweet it out when we're done, but I'm going to throw my vote in right now for Amy Shanker. You need to get her back on.
Really? You loved Amy, huh?
Yeah, I thought she was really cool.
Awesome. I didn't expect that. There are like 4 like consistent ones that you always hear. Amy, but I like Amy. Don't get me wrong. So that's good that she's getting some love.
Sean,
and I like the fact that it's almost like you see some of these other reality shows. They have like the All-Star season where they bring back previous people. I think that's a really hot idea to bring Scoop back and to have that season 7 where it's going to be previous weekly winners. Our previous season winners are going to come back and be on the panel. I think that's a great idea.
Oh, thanks.
It might be a little scary because they're going to see now how the sausage is made. So they're going to see that behind the scenes of all the evil shit that never got aired, that they're going to be like, oh, so this is the shit that y'all motherfuckers were saying when we didn't see it. Okay.
How the fudge is made, how the fudge is packed. You must be an Adam Carolla fan. Because I am too. That's where I know who says that. Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. In fact, we're actually working on getting bigger name comics in down the road for sure. And one of them, we're very close in getting him on a board. Can't say the name yet, but I absolutely promise you that you do know this guy, and I promise you will love him.
Well, I'll tell you, if you ever decide to take a season in a complete different direction and have people that nobody's ever fucking heard of before, me and Hatton would be willing to take the trip and sit on the couch and
be mocked.
Talk people with you.
Be mocked endingly.
The problem, though, that's going to be the problem. People go, well, who are these guys and what credibility do they have? That's going to be the only problem, though.
Well, have you gotten that lends to a good question? Have you gotten a lot of response from new fledgling, just starting them out, open mic nighter type comics who are taking the advice? Because there's you could put little pop-up video fun facts at the bottom that you guys are saying. There's some good data in there for learning how to do stand-up.
Yeah, we are, and it's funny. I've gotten email or comments from the YouTube from people in like fucking Jamaica and Nigeria, Africa, that they're like, "Hey, we love the show," and they're upset because they can't get the show on Amazon over in Nigeria. So
in the Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. I guess they can't get fucking Prime in the bushes, you know.
My guess is if they did, they still wouldn't move the mic stand.
You've definitely done your homework. That's another one, obviously, that drives my fucking nuts in a knot, is when people just stand there and stand behind it like it's a protective shield. But spot on assessment, my friend. Spot on.
And the two things that get me when I'm watching comedy bits are if the comedian doesn't feel that they have the room behind them, and they start. There was a thing about, when you're asking a question from the crowd, you're trying to help get their support because you're not real confident in the next joke. When they start trying to pull the audience into agreeing with what they're saying. So I go to get my coffee in the morning, right? Everybody go and get the coffee.
You guys get coffee, right? We all have coffee.
And you order your donut, right? You order, like, when you're asking for that validation after every line, it irks the fuck out of me.
Yeah, again, you're seeking approval. It's like, hey, it's like when you're trying to talk to girls. You're like, well, what do you think? Like, no, be a leader. Don't be a fucking follower. That's the thing.
When people over enunciate, it sets my teeth on edge. It's almost like it's almost like they fear they're telling a hyper intelligent joke, and they're pretty confident that you're not going to get it. So when they start telling the joke, and they start talking like they're over enunciating and taking like a language class, it sets my eyes rolling. And like you said before, it's just like, okay, piss break, gotta go. Next, I'm done with you.
Yeah. That, and it's like when they try and perform it too much, like, and then we call it out like, this motherfucker's an improv. I'll bet my last dollar, you know, or some shit like that, or they're in sketch or something like that. But yeah, we can. It's, you know, it's kind of like when you're trying to talk football. It's like, oh yeah, I know football. Oh yeah, really? Well, what do you think about? You think the Steelers are going to cover 7.5? They're going to maybe win. Like, all right, you know.
So now he's calling into question my football knowledge from pre-show. Excellent. Has now come full circle.
Nah, you're on the level. It's just it's just a good when other people try and fucking pass it off as yeah, I'm a huge fan. Oh really? Well then, and you call them out on it, like, yeah, it's, you know, the fuck you're talking about. But yeah, the same thing goes for comedy. But yeah, me or the panelists, especially the panelists, most of these guys are a lot more tenured than I am. But yeah, they know their shit, and you're not gonna fool all four of us. Believe me.
The piece.
Now, one would think at some point in time it's going to hit critical mass, and that these people who are sending you videos are sending you videos because they've seen previous seasons, and they say, hey, I want to get in on that. I want these guys to critique me, and I want to try to win. So at some point, you would think that the number of people who don't move the fucking mic stand should hit 0.
You would think.
But I don't think that's going to happen.
No. In fact, when I do put like the casting notice out there like I just did, so if anyone who's listening out there is a comic and you've been out for 3 years, you want to submit, send me an email and send me a video, and then I'll let you know if you made the cut or not. I feel that when comics who do this nice enough, they tag it, go, hey, check out Kevin's show, I love it, and he's opening submissions. I can definitely feel from some of the comments just like people go, hey, this looks like fun. And I'm like, you know what? You really should make sure you watch his show, because it's not all fucking puppy dogs and ice cream. I mean, I say it when I accept people, and I say it at the day of the taping, like, look, this is like a casino. Some of you are going to win, some of you are going to break even, and some of you are going to fucking lose. And if you lose, I do not want to hear you cry like a fucking bitch after I've given you fair warning that this very well could happen. So. And funny story, one girl tried to asked me to take it off because she got skewered, and she's like, well, can you edit me out? Can you take off the video? Nope. She even went as far to contact YouTube to have them yank the video down. YouTube was like, well, we got a complaint. I'm like, look, here's her fucking waiver. She's mad because she got a shitty review. Not my fault, but this is what she signed up for. Here's her copy of her waiver. And YouTube wrote back like 2 days later, like, you're good to go. Have a nice day.
Yeah, it is equal parts high fives and dick punches.
I would say that's the thing. I think people like to focus on the negative because the ball busting can be fun. But it's a show more for promoting a comedy. It's not for tearing them down. It's that'd be a real dicky thing to do. There are more high fives, or at least like constructive criticism. Like, hey, that's a funny joke, but you know what would really make it better? Like, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, no, I will say that. As much as you guys may, shit on somebody, ball bust, whatever, it is never just, this guy fucking sucks, he should never do it. It's, this guy sucks because he needs to sit down and write more, or he needs to hit the stage more often and get more comfortable because these are the issues that he had. So you may bust on people, but it's not without giving them comments to try to make them better as well. It's just... Also, because you guys are comics, it's not just free complimentary criticism. We're going to shit on you, too, because that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, we're ball busters by nature. I mean, this is what we do when we're standing, at the show while you're on stage, and what we're talking back and forth, if we're paying attention, like, this is what we're saying. And that's the beauty part for people who aren't in comedy. Like, this is what we're showing you is how comedians really watch and view comedy. And how we do our own version of X's and O's, like Madden did, and Gruden did, and all these other guys do in the NFL or whatever, and how we draw up comedy and diagram jokes, and how we look at it and how we can break it down. Like, that's what we're doing. We're showing you, we're pulling the curtain back, and giving you an insight to what's going on.
Yep, and like like Jeffrey said, as much as you guys, may roll on people, it is one of the hardest things in the world to do.
Sure is.
I've done my fair share of improv. I've done Renaissance festivals. I did stand up once, and it was in front
Now
of
that's the worst humble brag I've heard all day. Renaissance festivals.
Well, come on. It was. That's the worst humble brag. That's worse than the XFL jersey.
Yeah, much.
Okay.
You must be swimming in pussy now.
I did stand up once. It was in front of friends, and it was the most terrifying thing that has ever happened because of how terrible it went.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too. I think a mistake a lot of young comics make is they run out to get their friends to come see them too soon. It's like, oh my god, you do comedy, I want to come see you. Like, no, don't fucking bring your friends to see you because you're gonna suck. Like,
yeah.
You may have I would wait for at least a year or so before you have people want to come see you because you're gonna suck, and they're like, oh, so and so wants to perform again. Like, I don't know. Like, I think people are too in a rush to make it, and I'm guilty of that. And we're all, I think I would dare say we're all guilty of that. But if I could do it again, I'd be like, nah, you can, let's wait for me to get better at this.
Just to tag on what you were saying before, there was one spot, I think it was the second comedian. Hold on, I got her name right here. Molly Horan. She seemed.
Yeah, Molly Horan, right.
There was a moment where I was like, oh, this is just not the set for me. And then I think it was Jim who explained, like, she's hunched over, she's looking at the floor, she's staring, she's not looking at the crowd. And I realized it wasn't the material that I wasn't engaged with. It was 100% her stance, her look, just the way she positioned herself totally changed the whole energy.
Exactly. And that's what we all said. It's like, Jim thought her material was very, very good. I mean, it was smarter than most, but I didn't find it funny, but the performance was just so fucking like, oh God, are you getting a root canal or is this slow, dry anal rape for you to be on stage?
The one that had my teeth gritting through the whole set was Nicole Coons. Was just one long story told by a girlfriend you haven't seen in 4 years that reminds you of why you dumped her. Like, it was just bad.
Yeah, it was awful.
There's the one moment, the funniest part of her whole set was after she had gone through two sort of blurbs, and then she goes, I'm single, and that gets a huge pop.
Inadvertently, of course.
Exactly. And it was so inadvertent. It was just the audience sitting there and going, we know.
You can see by the looks on some of their faces when a joke that they think is going to be awesome completely misses. Right. And when they get inadvertent laughter at something that wasn't supposed to be funny, it just completely derails them. They're like, I don't know what to do now. That wasn't the response I was expecting. I think the biggest one was season 3. Anybody here, everybody here has watched gay porn accidentally, right? And that one dude in the front row just yells no, and it's just like, it hit. He
didn't yell it. He just said it. And that's so funny because I worked with Billy before, and I'm like, we did a gig like not too long after that. And he's like, well, that guy heckled me. I'm like, Billy, he didn't fucking heckle you. It's a common response. You can't ask a question like that and think it's rhetorical. You can't. And he's like, well, he heckled me. And dude, it was funny. Like, he got so fucking mad about that. I'm like, no, dude. Everyone I know talked about that. Like, dude, what is he thinking asking that question? And he's not going to get an answer? Like, that's just dumb.
How do you not have it prepared?
You have to prepare for both answers, though, because I'm watching that happen, and the guy says no, and I thought there was immediately a missed opportunity for him to go, sir, watching it intentionally is fine, too. We don't judge. I mean, you only just need to turn it back around and take that energy that's being aimed at you and just deflect it back. Right. Not even back, just away, so you're not the target. But when you ask a question like that, you have to be prepared for an answer and then have a response for that answer. Otherwise, you just flounder up there.
Right. Couldn't agree more.
So is the chance, are some of the ones that got lambasted, is there any chance they're going to get a a second shot in a future season, or is it one and done for each one of these young hopefuls?
No, a few people have come back. Evan Jones from season 1 is back in season 5. And we also do something, it's funny you say that, it's called Redemption Section. We do that at the live show, which we just had at Gotham Comedy Club in November, where I invited 4 people back, and they each did a minute. And the crowd voted on which comic they wanted to see do a full set that night. And a couple of guys hit me up immediately, like as soon as I announced, like, oh my God, I want a shot at Redemption, man. I want a shot at Redemption, man. I ate such fucking dick. Like, I want to do Redemption. So that's something that we do at the live show is we have, like I said, Redemption Section where I give them that time to really earn another shot, and so that way they can again do better. So yeah, I do throw it out there. So some people have responded that for this next upcoming season that they want to be part of 7 and 8. It's funny, one guy was even like, he did well, and I'm like, well, why the fuck do you want to do it again? He's like, oh, why not? But I gotta see like all the videos that are out there. Like, well, do I want to give this if I give this person a spot, that means that someone else who's brand new won't have one. So I got to really figure out how I want to play this.
Well, why don't you tell everybody listening to this how they can submit their queries and their headline?
You can submit your query to comicswatchingcomics@gmail.com. You have to be in comedy for at least 3 years. That's the rule. And I will check up and find out ways that, if you try and lie. And people have snuck in, but here's the problem. You'll get caught in the sense that people will fucking, A, dine you out, but B, but most important, your inexperience will show it. Like, you may think like, oh, I'm pretty good for like 2 years. No. There are the anomalies that are, but again, they're the exceptions, not the rule. And we do that because I don't want to have you get lambasted and they say, fuck me, I'm quitting comedy because these guys just say I suck. But it's only because you're new. Like, everyone new sucks. It just happens that way. Take your time, get good, and then come out and give it a shot. And then that way you'll be up to snuff. So comicswatchingcomics@gmail.com is the address to submit.
Yeah, comedy is one of those weird things where all comics know that new comics are horrible, and new comics pretty much are aware that they too are horrible, but there's no, there's open mic nights and there's smaller nights at clubs, but there's no like minor leagues. You're just going to clubs like everybody else, so you're thrown in the same mix of the same people showing up.
It's exactly right. And I think Jimmy Filia said it best when he said you can't go out there really and just take foul shots outside. You got to go out there and hit the mics in the club and just do it that way. So you're right, and that's one thing that a lot of people do say. Like, what's one thing about new comics that annoy you? That they fucking are so arrogant when they're so bad because they're new. Like, that's one thing that drives a lot of people nuts.
So, do you have anybody from early seasons that has seen the show, seen your critiques of them, and then you have seen more recently where you've said to yourself, they stepped their game up. They took our critiques, or you can see that maybe they listened to some of the stuff that you guys had talked about on the panel?
Absolutely. Oh my God, yeah. I see it a lot where it's like, I saw a person like, Jesus Christ, they were awful, and then boom, a little bit later, it's just like, yeah, hey, I got good. They'll even sometimes they'll make a comment like, hey man, here I am, look at me, I got a lot better since you told me not to say that or do that. I'm like, good, that's it, there you go, man. Again, the show is really for promoting and helping comedy out and getting better. It's not for tearing people fucking down. I'm really happy that, a lot of people are coming through and going, hey man, because I was on the show, I got this, I got that, I got booked on here, I got this coming up, all this different shit, which is fucking awesome, which is what it really should happen. A lot of comics are about trying to tear each other down in the process so that they can make their way up. No, it doesn't work like that. So if I can help make it something positive and comedy get better, then, I've done my job. That's for sure.
When we started this whole podcast thing 4 years ago, we had this whole mentality of rising tide raises all ships.
Sure.
And it really sounds like that's one of the underlying reasons for doing this show. And I know just from friends of mine who have tried it or done it or what you read about in the papers, comedy can be a very cutthroat industry, probably more so than acting is, because of the medium involved, that you're out there doing it live. Not so much of it is filmed. You're actually trying to book gigs and get in there in person. So the fact that you have kind of taken on the mantle to make comedy better overall by making comics better, I think when you have people come up to you and say, hey, I saw your show, I saw your criticisms, it made a lot of sense, I changed some stuff up and I'm getting better, I think that's the biggest compliment that you can get, because it shows that people are taking your expertise and your panel's expertise and it's making them better comics out of it. So that's a fantastic thing that you guys are doing.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Thanks. Yeah, that's part of the goal, man. That, as well as give me my own fucking show so I can quit corporate America and get out of this horse shit.
Do you still?
Yeah, that's always the number one. This was the secondary objective.
That's very true. Absolutely, it's very true. Very true.
So, what do you have coming up in the future aside from the Comics Watching Comics? What is Kevin Goatee's itinerary look like in the near future? Hey, man, what's going on?
What's going on? I'm trying to. Right now. I mean, I have been working my balls off on doing podcasts and talking to shows and shit like that. So comedy right now is taking a little bit of a backseat. I mean, I've got gigs that are upcoming, which you can find on my website, kevingoatee.com. That's KevinGootee.com. It's where you can find me. Twitter at Kevin Goatee, Instagram same. And, of course, comicswatchingcomics.com at Comics Watching on Twitter. Oh, and, yeah, Comics Watching Comics on Instagram. And that's what I've been working on, is really, like, trying to get this show, obviously, more eyeballs to the sets. But also, honestly, like, look, Amazon's been great and it's cool. But, I mean, right now, the real money is still in, like, cable networks and shit. So I'm trying to get on a network or a TV channel where I can get the show there, as well as just get all these other shows I've created on. I shot a couple little pilots and sizzle reels, and I'm trying to get the one show I got in the whole comics watching vein, keeping that alive. Comics Watching Football, where you guessed it, 3 other comics and myself watch NFL games, and we comment, we talk shit. We had a former player sitting with us. Name already, Jesus Christ. He played with Peyton Manning on the Colts when they won the Super Bowl. He was a D lineman. So yeah, Comics Watching Football. I'm trying to get that going, as well as another show I have called. It's License to Kill, No Odd Job, where it's 3 comics and me sit down and we play GoldenEye for Nintendo 64. And yeah, that's a winner, right? We sit down, we talk shit, we talk about topics that are going on and whatever comes up while we were all playing GoldenEye and talking shit about each other. So
it's like a nerdy dinner for 3.
That I need to find homes for. So all of you listeners out there, if you got any contacts, I need to pitch this damn shit. So it's help a brother out.
That is fantastic. I love the idea of sitting and the goofing on stuff genre. So with the football one, I mean, do you have to broach the NFL on that, or do you just open fair use law your way through 10-second clips?
So in the trailer right now, like we have the second passing of the trailer, it's all us just laughing and like, oh shit, and making comments, but you don't know what it's about because we can't have NFL footage. So
right.
What I told my production company to do is what we're going to do is we're going to take like clips from like YouTube of people playing Tecmo Bowl or Madden, and then plug it in there, so that way there's like a frame of reference. So people are going, what the fuck? So that's what we're going to do with that. But yeah, I mean, that would be the goal. And my production company, the guy knows the head of NFL, CBS Sports. So once we get this trailer all whacked together and up to snuff, we're going to take it to him, and he's going to be able to march it into a lot of these offices for the NFL, because the NFL right now is there. He said, and this is the guy's direct words, where the ratings are bad. not bad, but way down, obviously, because of whatever reasons, concussions, the kneeling, whatever. And he says this could be the perfect thing to get really people involved more. And in a different light, people are like, all right, well, I don't want to watch fucking Joe Buck, talk and be condescending. I'd rather laugh. I want to watch these comics sit there and talk shit about the game and do that as opposed to like I said, listen to Joe Buck run his mouth. Well,
here's a tip. I'll give this one to you for free. You mentioned the XFL. You mentioned the XFL before. Apparently, Vince McMahon has rebought all of those trademarks and copyrights. There's rumors that he's starting a new thing again.
Oh boy, I get to watch more.
Supposed to be an announcement January 25th.
What was that, Rob?
Supposed to be an announcement January 25th.
There you go. So, comedians watching the XFL.
We get to watch He Hate Me come out of retirement.
There you go.
Cheerleading, the cheerleader dressing room, the whole thing.
I mean, what a fucking. My God. Well, you never know, so I'm not going to say a word. Hey, Vince McMahon, we are available.
There you go.
So when are the other seasons dropping?
Season 5 should have been up way before fucking Christmas, but we had a technical problem with one of the episodes. It's being uploaded right now. There hasn't been any glitches yet, knock on wood. So hopefully, I would say like maybe the end of the week, or it's already Thursday almost. I would say maybe as early as Monday for season 5, 6. Not too long after that, maybe middle of February. And then the live show, I'm still working on now, editing, and that should be probably, I guess, March. I think in the live show, and I actually forgot to answer that question. The live show is what people win. The live show is the showcase of all the some of the past winners, as well as the panelists. That's what the prize is. Is again, that's where everyone gets to take their bow. And that was at Gotham Comedy Club, which is, of course, a very well-known club here in the city. That's the prize. And then the real grand scheme is to get people out on tour like American Idol and go around the country and doing that. Like that's the real goal, is to gain a big enough following where I can just call up clubs and go, all right, we want the door, you guys keep the booze, and we want a budget of this, that, and the other thing. So that's the goal of the long-term goals, is, like I said, do a tour of it.
That would be pretty awesome.
I hope so. I hope it fucking comes to be. So we'll see.
And it would get you one step closer to getting out of corporate America.
Buddy, I fucking have my letter already in my mind that I'll be posting on Facebook the minute I can quit corporate America.
Sorry, boss, I can't give you those TPS reports this weekend. I'm taking my comics on tour, so not going to be around.
Mine's going to be a lot more graphic than that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Basically, I'm tired of everyone getting fucked who works their ass off many hours for an unknown entity who will fuck their people over the second their CEO is making 50 cents less on their bonus.
That's pretty much the way of corporate America.
Yeah, and I'm doing everything I can to say, that's it. You zombies have fun on the subway. I'm going to go make TV shows for a living.
Well, that is a noble cause to shoot for, my friend.
And you're closer than we are, so.
I don't know, this podcast, I hear you guys are dipping on the heels of Corolla and Mark Maron and Bill Burr and those guys.
Really? I didn't realize they had fallen that far. So am I correct in understanding that you have, is there a gig that you're doing sometime over the summer in Springfield, New Jersey?
I will be in Springfield at the end of March at the Comedy Cove.
We are going to find dates for that, and Hat and I are going to make every effort to come out there and see you.
It is. I tell you what, like right now, I can pull that up. I think it's the last weekend of March, because I just booked it last week. I remember. Yeah, March 30th and 31st. I'll be at the Comedy Cove in Springfield, New Jersey.
There we go.
Done and done.
We will make it happen.
How did you know? So wait, how did you know about Springfield in the summertime? How did you hear about that? Unless I missed something.
No, I thought I saw it somewhere. I mean, I wouldn't have pulled that date out of thin air. I'm not that good. But I thought I had read somewhere that you were going to be performing at the Comedy Cove in Springfield, because I was thinking to myself, that's literally like 15, 20 minutes from both of us. So that was that would have been an opportune moment to check you out live.
Actually, you know what? I'll be in Clark in the beginning part of March as well. I'm doing my buddy Rob Epple's room. Shout out to Rob Epple. At the when is it? Damn it! Did I lose it already? Molly Maguire's March 2nd at 8 p.m. in Clark. That's Rob Epple's room. So I'm sure you're also very close to Clark. I know. So it's also
back in the day, I used to do karaoke at Molly Maguire's. It's very funny.
Now another humble brag that just passed over all three.
How is karaoke a humble brag? That is the worst humble brag ever.
I mean,
sarcasm, we meet again.
There you go.
I mean, to be fair,
Kevin,
he kills it at karaoke. So.
Oh, stop.
What's your song?
It depends on what I'm in the mood for, but pretty much my song is "Somebody to Love" by Queen.
Interesting.
I found out about 2 years ago at a friend's house playing Rock Band that I could actually hit the notes. So I said, I have to try this at a karaoke bar one night.
Did you ever go to Cape Town in the city and hang out with the other Koreans and fucking try and drop some serious bars?
I have not. I think I'm working my way up to that. I'm not quite there yet.
I hear that's the place to be if you're in the fucking karaoke scene.
Yeah?
So I mean, that's what I hear.
Is that one of those private room sort of jams where, you know, you bring in pizza and hookers?
That's what I hear. They all just go there and rent a room and they just hang out and sing and, I don't know, eat kimchi. I don't know.
Underground karaoke, secret knocks, and the whole 9 yards.
Right?
Kevin, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on our show and talking shop about your show.
Oh, absolutely, guys. Thanks for fucking having me, more importantly. There was a blast. Jesus Christ, we've been going on for an hour and 10. It's flown by.
The show's great. If you're listening, Comics Watching Comics, it's on Amazon Prime right now. Are there any episodes that are still on YouTube, like any secret episodes that haven't been ported over to Amazon?
No, because Amazon demands exclusivity, and I have to listen to Jeff Bezos.
So everything that was on YouTube is up on Amazon, so they're not missing.
Right.
Anything.
So, and I should also explain, for season 5 and there on out, it's going to be like iTunes. We got to pay like $2 per episode, and or $15, I think, for the season. But seasons 1 through 4, since they were on YouTube, I made those free. So 1 through 4 will always be free if you have Amazon Prime. If you don't have Prime, you can still get it, but you got to pay for it. But yeah, right. 1 through 4 will always be free, and then 5 and 6 will be pay-per-view, I guess.
Sounds good. And the email address one more time to submit is comicswatchingcomics@gmail.com.
Yes, sir. You are correct. That's right.
So there you go. If you've been in comedy for 3 years or more and you're interested in getting on the show or submitting for the show and having Kevin and his panel critique you, comicswatchingcomics@gmail.com. Make it happen. Get this guy.
Yeah, and if any of you network types are out there listening, we're looking for a home on a network as well as those other shows I had mentioned. And if you don't mind me, I just want to mention my podcast I do with my buddy Jeff Paul, another comic in New York.
Please.
The Sportsbook Box Office Podcast, where we talk about, you guessed it, sports and films on iTunes and Google Play and Libsyn and all that good shit.
Very cool.
Sir, it's
been
an
absolute joy. Thanks for having me. I really, really am amazed how fast the time did go. I mean, my God, it just blew by. And it was a great talk with you guys. I can't thank you enough for the opportunity.
We can't thank you enough for reaching out to us and wanting to be on. It was a good time.
Yeah, and whenever any of when your next big project comes to fruition, the networks are banging down your door, be like, I'm not going on Kimmel. I got to do the something cast.
I'm going on Kimmel and your podcast.
All right, fair enough.
There you go.
We'll take it.
Yeah, you have an open invite, Kev. Anything else comes down the pike that you want to get out there and get the word out to people, you're always welcome.
We'll love that, guys. Thanks again so much. And, of course, please tag me in all the posts, and I'll retweet and like and share and all that good stuff on Facebook. So I'm going to spread the word as much as you want to get the word out there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, man.
Take care, boys. Later.
Take care.
Peace.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was fantastic. Are we going to say all of our links and stuff now? Are we going to do a post-show tag thing that we normally do?
Yeah, we are sponsored.
That's right.
We jumped right into the guest, but we will talk about our sponsor over on audible.com. Hatton, you have all the information on that?
I do. Audible.com/something, where you can go and get 30 days. That is correct. 30 days of all the discounts that the Audible members get. And you get one free audiobook. Pardon me. You can go and look up comedy, how to do it. You can hear some of the great... You can go listen to George Carlin bits. You can go listen to tons of books over at audible.com/something. And you will get discounts and a free audiobook.
Sounds good. You have anything else to add on the comedy front there, Monfrere Hatton?
Not a muss. Nope. Other than, go to reallyshameless.com and join Decal Club, which I haven't talked about, but it's there and you can look it up there.
There you go. Our Patreon is still up and running. Patreon.com/somethingcast. We have our new radio drama going on. We have our new Patreon-only show, Something This Week. Hopefully you guys are checking it out. We're going to be having some new Patreon levels that we're going to be adding in the next couple weeks too. So some extra stuff for those of you who want to help support our show. We're going to give you a little something more than what you've just been getting.
Yes, we've been talking to various providers of cool sundried items that might be able to provide you with cool shit.
Absolutely.
Anything from you, sir?
I'm good.
Well, you know where to find us. You know all the websites where we're located, and you know what the show is about. So with that, we want to once again thanks Kevin Goatee for joining us. Go check out his show on Amazon Prime. But I'm James Hatton.
I'm Podcast Rob.
We'll see you guys next time.
Later.
If it's laughing you need, then it's laughing indeed. 'Cause it's laughing at me. Yes, it's laughing